every aspect of your life in and out of school. I am Dr. Patrice, and today we are talking about ways to increase representation in nursing. And joining us today is Dr. Danielle McCamey, a trailblazer, a scholar, and a visionary, and the founder of DNPs of Color. Welcome, Dr. McCamey.
Hey, Dr. Patrice.
So excited to have you. And this is an interview I've been waiting quite some time for. So let's just get started. Tell us a little bit about your background as a doctor of nursing practice and how you started DNPs of Color.
Excellent. Well, I just want to first say thank you so much for the invitation to share this time, space, and energy with you. It's always an honor and privilege to connect with you and to everybody out there. Hey, y'all. So I received my doctorate in nursing practice in 2017 at Georgetown University. And I'm postmasters. So I had been practicing as a nurse practitioner for about 5 years before I was, it was highly encouraged that I go back because I wasn't a believer in the DNP degree. I am an acute care nurse practitioner. So at the time, I was extremely comfortable in my practice. I didn't really see the value in going back to get my doctorate. And one of my mentors at the time, Dr. Bim Akintade, what's up, Bim? We were on a night shift in one of the ICUs. We called it the CIVR, which is the cardiovascular recovery room. And at the midnight hour, when everything was just kind of going crazy, we had this moment of calm. And he's like, you need to go back and get your doctorate. And I'm like, you have lost your mind, but no. And that was the seed that was planted. And then over time, I marinated on it and applied. And then Georgetown at the time, when I applied for a second round, because the first round, they got rid of a program that I wanted to go to. But anyways, they offered a scholarship. And I said, well, who am I to deny them the right to pay for my education? So I went on a full scholarship to obtain my DNP. And I always tell people this: ever since I received my diploma, my career has completely skyrocketed. And being a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner has gotten me conversations and seats at so many different tables. So now I'm a believer and I make my Kool-Aid and I pour it for folks that are interested or teetering between PhD and DNP.
Thank you. And that's interesting that you say that about your story and how you segue into getting your DMP, because very similarly, I was very content with where I was as
Right?
a family nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes the ones who are meant to just think about if you did not take that step, it's because it was meant
Yes.
for you. So that's why that path was so
Yes.
straight and
I
clear.
love that. I love
And
that.
so now you get to have this impact on
Yes.
other people who are interested, I should say
Mhm.
students who are interested in taking that next step. And
Yes.
so I wanted to just backtrack just a little bit as
Mhm.
far as how with representation, because
Yes.
at Georgetown, tell us a little bit, because I know some of the story of it and
Yes.
how you started the Facebook group as a form of mentorship and encouragement. So I
Yes.
love the humble beginnings. Can you just share that with us?
Yeah, definitely humble beginnings because in my cohort at the time, I was the only Black woman. And our community, we're kind of used to being the only one in some of these spaces. But for me, I just felt like I had to get it right. It's like I was the first in my family. I really need to be successful, but I don't know how to be successful because I don't have any resources internally. And then advancing in that environment, it's kind of like you have to, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but essentially fake it till you make it. And so I
Yeah.
really wanted a community that could support, that I could lean on and trust and feel comfortable being vulnerable. Like, I don't know what's going on. What's a lit review, or how to make this Pico question.
Yeah.
So the Facebook group was the beginning of this movement. People are calling it a movement of today, of just support, resources.
Mhm.
I call it our community provides the secrets to the game.
Yep.
because it is a game, and a lot of times those secrets aren't shared if you're not part of certain circles or certain networks. And what I'm finding as we continue to grow organically, having your doctorate really places a huge amount of status, prestige, and power in our community, which only strengthens our network. And because we have that commonality of lived experiences, and a lot of them have been grounded in being the only one or the first, we feel that need and that pull to really, really support each other. And it's been such a powerful, amazing experience as we've been growing and networking and really elevating this body of scholars that, to be honest, there's no other organization that's frontward facing specific to doctorally prepared nurses, DNP prepared nurses.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love the most, of course, as a writer myself, how much you push that publication, the path to
Yes,
publication is, I believe, is what you call it. Because the thing is, the one of the biggest ways you can amplify your voice and have the greatest impact is to contribute to the body of knowledge, contribute
absolutely.
to the nursing science, whether it's PhD, but
Mhm.
specifically, of course, this is DNP. And so I really love that fact as far as just it's really about you pave the way and then
Yes.
individuals get to follow that pathway.
Mhm.
And from that pathway, there's been so many doors that you mentioned that have opened up. Can you
Mhm.
give examples to those who are tuning in today? What is waiting for them when they follow this path all the way through?
Oh my goodness, the opportunities for folks that embark on the DNP journey are limitless because it's a doctorate that historically is clinical practice. We're finding it's evolving. More and more nurses are going back to pursue doctoral studies, and the DNP degree is making it more accessible to especially Black and Brown communities. And so, because of the accessibility, more and more of us are going back. It's only adding more value. It's amplifying our level of expertise and scholarship. And so, embarking on the DNP allows you opportunities for more leadership, in entering spaces of academia, really deepening your clinical knowledge if you decide to stay within the clinical practice realm. But the best thing that I love about having my DNP is the ability to have that versatility to dabble in. If I want to do a little bit of translational science and QI, EBP, and even embark on the science of discovery, generating new knowledge, I have the opportunity to do so. And then also have the opportunity to stay within clinical practice. So we have um, this duality about us that we can see both sides and come up with solutions in real time. And I love that about being DNP prepared.
I love that too, because it sounds like there's a lot of shaping of
Yes.
academia as well as practice and research. And originally, I had told you before I came up with the title for the show, I'm like, we should talk about ways to increase representation and practice and in this
Yes.
and in that. And then it's
Yes.
like, wait a minute, nursing general as a discipline, that is
Yes.
where the impact is. And
Absolutely.
then of course that impact helps with the patient community.
Absolutely.
And so can you, talk about the mentorship aspect of
Mhm.
DNPs of color?
Mhm. Well, one of the beauties about being part of this community, because we're so communal and supportive, that there's a natural, organic mentorship that goes along with the community. But as we're transitioning to a membership-based association, we are being strategic about our mentorship programs that we're going to offer. The first one that we've launched last year was the Pathway to Publication, and we're going through a rebrand. It's going to be the rebrand is My DNP Manuscript Mentorship Program, and we see the gap that folks are graduating and not publishing their work. And when you look at the abstracts of this work, they are literally focusing on closing some of these healthcare gaps, these inequities. They're talking about racism. They're talking about advancing clinical practice through various innovations with technology. And I'm like, hey, like we need this in the literature because it's going to shape practice. So this program that we're launching is going to pair senior or seasoned researchers, public folks that have published a lot with a DNP that hasn't published their project within 2 years. It's a pretty intense program. It's going to be a 14-week program where you get weekly support. You have a community of folks to help really, give you the confidence and that accountability to get it done. And so our first cohort, we had a piloted a group of 9 individuals. And in that 9, everybody morphed their 60 plus DNP paper into a publication ready manuscript, which was the primary goal. And of that 9, we had 7 out of the 9 actually get accepted for publication, and the other 2 we're still waiting to hear back. So proof of concept. So looking forward to expanding that. And once we become a full membership association, we'll have like the traditional professional development mentorship available as well.
Kudos to you. That's a big accomplishment. That's, greater than 75% of the
Yes.
students who were able to successfully carry it all the way through to publication. And one of the things that I was thinking about, a couple of things as you were
Mhm.
speaking. The main thing when it comes to completing the DMP project is to talk about ways you plan on disseminating
Exactly.
later. So
Exactly.
if that's in the plans, if that's part of what is expected to be done post graduation,
Mhm.
then it's important that you follow that through.
Absolutely.
And then one of the things that I see that more individuals with DNP are understanding is that having the publication actually sets them up for more credibility. And when
Yes.
you have more credibility, you're able to position yourself as an expert. And
Yep.
then when you position yourself as an expert, you're able to do things like consulting or
Okay.
subject matter expert in a
Yeah.
case. So that's one of the things that I've always loved about DMPs of Color. And I feel like you're doing a phenomenal job. And so we have to get into the next part because you have a big event coming up.
Yes, we
Can you
do.
can you talk a little bit about the third annual DNP conference that will be held in Washington, D.C. this year?
Yes, so we are entering our 3rd year of conferencing, which is absolutely amazing. The theme is calling all game changers and trailblazers. And this is essentially a continuation from last year's theme was DMPs of Color, changing the game and forging new paths, which essentially was a charge for folks to get to work. We know that we're going to be the only one in a lot of places and spaces, so take ownership of that and blaze that trail and forge new paths, because we know a lot of the experiences we have or the places we occupy weren't necessarily structured for our success. So a lot of times we have to take that ownership and leadership in advancing in the places and spaces. And so this year, calling all game changers and trailblazers, we want to see what work have y'all done. So we're calling y'all out to come out. We have an amazing agenda. It's going to be October 19th through the 22nd. The 19th will be our welcoming network mix and mingle, which will be heavy hors d'oeuvres, DJ, really fun. And then the education will be the 20th and the 21st at the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian. And then on Saturday night, we'll be having our 2nd annual Mary Eliza Mahoney Award and Scholarship Gala featuring the Memmy Awards, which is we're trying to create a distinguished award. Dr. Ravine Pierce McDaniel has created this award, and so we'll be hosting the Memmy Awards as well. Our keynote will be Rear Admiral Aisha Mix, who is the Chief Nursing Officer of the U.S. Public Health Service. She's really dope. Love her. She's amazing.
Love her too.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
we'll be having a historical moment where we'll be featuring an exclusive interview with Virginia Allen, who is one of the last living Black angels. And the Black angels were key in taking care of individuals in Staten Island during the height of the TB pandemic. And we'll also be featuring Maria Smilios, who was the author that actually got the stories from her and other folks that were involved in that time period. So we're really excited. And that's going to be sponsored by Nurses You Should Know. So shout out to Raven and Joanna that will be hosting that. So we're really excited about that. And then just the scholars that will be presenting. I mean, we have a really rich an amazing agenda that will be outstanding. You'll learn a lot, you'll connect with people, and you'll be inspired. So we really, really want to see you there. And again, you can go to our website, sign up. We would love to have you out there and connect with you.
And along with that website, you all could scan the QR code and it'll take you right to the events page. And so this is great. I had the opportunity to go to the conference last year, and
You presented. You're on a
yeah, I
panel.
presented, and I wish I wasn't gonna miss this one, but I'm telling you, for those who can be there, please be there. The thing is, there were so many benefits that I gained from attending last year, but the number one thing that Dr. McCamey doesn't know about that I'm going to tell you now, I feel like I gained a lifelong friend there. I was on a panel with other nurses, and I was able to connect with another nurse who has just been so she's almost like been a mentor to me, and I don't
Oh,
even
I
think
love that.
she knows that, but I don't want to. I'm not going to say her name right now, but I can always text you later. And so what happens is it's the camaraderie. And
Hmm.
even though that nurse is happens to be in New York and I'm here in Atlanta, I felt like I gained someone that I could connect with. And one of the things that you and I have spoken about is having that safe space.
Yes.
Also, with the representation, as you encourage other nurses to
Hmm.
move up into the DNP role,
Yep.
we also know what comes, the challenges that comes along with that.
Okay.
So it's so important that you have a trusted friend that you could call and who's not going to judge you when you're like, okay,
Yes.
I'm dealing with this, and they're,
Yes.
just even though you don't want to say everything that comes to heart, but sometimes you need a place where you could just help someone just say,
Hmm.
okay, let it out. Okay, now gather your thoughts,
Yes.
get back out there
Yes.
and be great. Be
Yes.
great. Continue to be great.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I gain from attending the DNPs of Color conference. And there's many other things that people can gain, but to me, the fact that I gain a colleague as a mentor and a friend is
That's
something
amazing.
that is, yeah, it's priceless. It's
Yes.
priceless. The other thing I wanted to also highlight is the poster presentation, the symposium, the with that part. I really really push for students to do that. Can we
Yes.
before we end, can you talk a little bit about, because this is something I ask all of my guests at the very end. If
Mhm.
I only knew then what I know now to finish this statement. So for you, Dr. McCamey, when it comes to poster presentations, if I only knew then what I know now, you would.
I wish that I knew that it wasn't as difficult as it really is. I mean, it is probably one of the easiest ways to disseminate your work. And I was so fearful of it because I just didn't have the knowledge or the education or the mentorship to learn that process. So poster is the literally the easiest way to disseminate your work. And I highly encourage folks to put a poster together. It's really simple.
And thank you for that. I really appreciate for you taking the time and to
Absolutely.
support our platform and have us also support you with getting the bringing awareness of
Thank
ways
you
to
so much.
increase representation in nursing. But today we focus a lot more so about that academic, the scholarly part. We would love to have you on again on ways to talk a little bit more about ways to increase representation in the actual practice. You and I are both aware of the numbers or the statistics of
Yes.
the impact when it comes to Black maternal health,
Mhm.
and just in general with healthcare.
Yes.
But but for now, is there anything you would like to leave with our guests before you leave?
You know, take hold of your space. Don't be intimidated about being the only one. And I've come to terms with that because if not you, then who? And we need you all out there representing. We need you to take ownership of the responsibility that we have so that you can make ways for other people. So if not you, then who? Take ownership of that and represent.
Well said. And thank you all for tuning in at Let's Talk with MP Student, where we're keeping you updated with every aspect of your life in and out of school. And that includes your DNP scholarly project and publications.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. McCamey. We look
Thank
forward
you,
to
Dr.
having you again, and we'll see
Yes.
you all next time.